Hello, everyone. The Abundance Oracle. Here's a fast little story about one of the real estate properties I own. This was back 2017. I bought this place. I was looking for a waterfront property and I just didn't have the wherewithal to be able to buy something on the oceanfront. And my kids wanted oceanfront property, but I couldn't do it. So I found this one property about a quarter of a mile from the ocean, but on a pond. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to go look at it. This at least sort of meets some of the criteria of what the kids want. As you'll learn, as you you start listening to my videos, I am basically working for my kids' inheritance money, right? It's fun for me. All right, so I go see the house. I make an appointment directly with the selling broker because I have my sister as backup if I need a buyer's broker because I was the buyer. So the guy said, okay, I'll meet you right at the property at whatever time. I said, okay, great. So we're walking up to the door and he says, these plants are just a little overgrown, but don't worry, you could get someone in here to easily, they could just come in with a big bulldozer and bulldoze all this mess over here down and over on this side down as well. And, it won't be too hard. So he's getting more and more quiet as we head towards the front door. I'm like, isn't this interesting? I'm surprised he wasn't keep going with his sales pitch. We get to the door and he opens the door up and he sort of steps back and lets me walk through. And he had a surprised look on his face. Evidently, I was the only woman who was willing to walk into this house. They've went to show it to many couples and was about 6 months and they haven't had anyone make an offer on it yet. But I was the only one willing to walk in. Now, what did I see when I walked in? I wouldn't call her a hoarder, but she was quite an accumulator of semi-precious to her stuff. So there was a lot of things in the house to look past to get to see what the actual cottage was like. So I thought, okay, well, let's just keep going. Maybe it's just this one room. I keep going. And first he shows me all the way across the first floor. And he says, well, would you like to see the downstairs? And I said, okay, sure. Thinking, why has he asked me would I like to see the downstairs? All right, I go down there. There's a nanny's apartment downstairs. Full separate entrance out to the other side of the house. And then it's separated totally off from the main house by just a little door, which was its emergency exit. I thought, oh, this is sort of interesting. I didn't say this out loud because you don't want them to ever think you love the place. I said, oh, this could be a separate apartment I could rent out. It's already here. It would be grandfathered in, so I could have this as a rental apartment. Okay, so I see. I walk into the basement part, and she has fabulous water heater. It was a very heavy duty water heater and a it was older but very solid gas heater for the whole house. Now, I already noticed when I was going through the first floor that they had radiators. Radiators are very expensive to install and they're not used much, but they hold the heat of the house, one of the best of all the different ways you can heat your house. So now I'm starting to think, And I go in and there's a washer dryer in the basement and I see she's got a dehumidifier set up permanently on a little ledge and the driplets are going outside automatically. Well, somebody somebody knows what they're doing here. You don't have to empty the bucket. So now I'm like, So now I'm walking, okay, he's going to show us the second story. Okay, good. The second story had 4 bedrooms. One of the bedrooms was really like an expanded closet. So, okay, that was a negative. And there were 2 bathrooms upstairs as well. So I thought, Now, when we go down these stairs, you don't go all the way into the other side of the house. You actually stay on the far side of the house. So if you wanted to, you actually could close off a master bedroom, a family room with an eating area, with a built-in fireplace, a sunroom, and a bird little room. Okay, then you go to the middle of the house, and it had another bedroom and a bathroom, stairs to go upstairs, a kitchen, a living room, another little eating area off the kitchen, a fireplace, the stairways to go down to the back door and out another separate entrance. If you take the staircase off the kitchen and go up, that's where the 4 extra bedrooms are. So you could also, if you wanted to, divide off one basic side that somebody could live on and have the rest of your family be on the other side. You'd only have to ever share the kitchen. That's sort of interesting. I said, okay. I said, there's sort of a lot of stuff around here. I might have to come back and see this again because it's sort of hard to comprehend. He said, let me just show you the attic while we're here. It's a pull-down attic. And he said, okay, it's nice and clean up there. Would you like to go look? And I said, okay, yeah, let me climb up the stairs here and look. It's the most pristine attic with nice, thick, real plywood, not presswood, but from wall to wall. It was unbelievable. And I was like, oh, this is really nice. Can you imagine a woman thinking to herself, this attic is spectacular? There were already a string of lights sort of all the way across in the attic, so you could flip on the light from the entrance there, and it would be all lit up as well. Did I mention the cedar chest that was empty and sitting there? So now I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. He said, all right, well, let me just show you a little bit more of the property. We walk down the property, and there's a big, significant shed, and it has a ramp on it, and it has 2 sets of French doors. You couldn't see the French doors because there were shutters closing them down. He opened up the French doors for me, and it overlooked the beach, your own private little beach. Now, there was no insulation. It wasn't finished off or anything, but someone knew how to construct this thing when they did it. It was very strong, very great. I said, oh, this is nice. Okay, well, thank you for showing me. He said, no, we're not done yet. This house actually is set on 5 lots. So you've only seen the first 3. We have to go through that fence over there, and you'll see the other side. Okay. A guest cottage on the water with a deck and its own beach. Now I have 2 beaches there, right? Okay. What could be better for a real estate investor? Yep. You walk in the door. You have water views and everything. The whole guest cottage is divided in half. The front half, that is a 1 bedroom living room, full kitchen, full deck, beach with views. Bedroom, not separate bedroom, it's like a bedroom nook and a bathroom. Totally operational, totally separate, totally separated out heating. Okay, the back of it is 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and another full kitchen with lots of storage. Okay, I had to calm myself down at that point. I'm thinking, you can rent this, you can rent this, you can rent this. Then he said, now I don't have the keys for this shed up here, which is like a miniature house, a shed, but it's got great storage because there's no garage that comes with that main house. Okay, holy moly. The shed was in great, great condition, sort of like the boathouse. So I'm driving home and I'm like sweating, thinking, I got to get this place. I got to get this place. You will never believe I took my time putting in an offer. And they were so excited to get the offer that as I was telling them the offer, I lowered the price in my brain. I thought, these people are too excited. They must not have had offers before or something or other. So I put it in lower than what I originally thought. At the last minute, punt and go, right? They said, okay, well, you know what? We're going to have to, the realtor said this to me, ready? We're going to have to talk to the woman that owns the house right now because I think the discrepancy between what you offered and the price, she's not going to be happy with. So if you, can you wait like 2 weeks, because we'd like to have her lower her price first before we give her your offer. So there's not such a big discrepancy. Okay. I moved in November 2017. Now, last year, the whole house, some of it was rented year-round in the guest cottage and the nanny suite, and then some of it during the summertime I left and rented it Airbnb, and then moved back in September. And the other side of the house I rented only for the winter because the Airbnb was bringing in significant quantities of money. And it cost me zero to live there. So this house that you're looking at in the background is paying for itself, and I get a place now. Okay, I keep up everything, but still a place to live. Now, if I was married and still had kids running around, it would be much harder to make this work. But there's a lot of land. I could have rented part of it for storage for somebody to put their boat for the winter. I could have made some money. I think at one time I had a lot of other ideas. But why pay for a place to live? It's just a thought, and I'd like to put it in your head. And I was just lucky walking into a place like this. But you, now that you know that there are places like this, maybe you need to upsize what you're buying to find a place that won't cost you anything. 2-family, 3-family home that's in a fabulous location. Maybe even better for you than a 1-family smaller home. You have to have a spouse that's willing to let you work on the house sometimes maybe, or be a little flexible. Just a thought. This is the Abundance Oracle. You can do it. You can do it. If I did it, you can do it. Please subscribe if you like to hear more of my stories. Thank you. Bye-bye.